I think I'm very cognizant of not giving the Detroit Pistons enough attention for their magnificent season, including how beautifully they played after Cade Cunningham got hurt. And I recognize, Stephen A., that we at ESPN may be in Detroit for days on end for the conference finals where they would have home court advantage. So I'm a little bit wary about continuing to disregard them. However, I'm going to disregard them in this instance yet again because I think that the Knicks are the team that the Celtics have to contend with most seriously. And that is simply because the Knicks have been constructed with the exact purpose of beating the Celtics. When the Knicks made their most crucial decisions about putting this roster together, it was in the wake of the Celtics winning the championship. That is why they invested so heavily in Mikal Bridges. That is why they invested so heavily in OG Anunoby in terms of what they paid him. Those players were brought in specifically to deal with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And they have had success. They've had success, obviously, in the playoffs last year and this year. I know they didn't play them together this year, but they still went 3-1. So the one thing you're looking at if you're a Knicks fan or in the Knicks organization is our team is primed to beat the best team in the East. And they're going to try to give them their chance, I think.
Here's the thing. The answer to this question is the Knicks, right? But it's for two reasons. Number one, they beat them last year. And number two, that's who they'd have to face first if they were to get to the conference finals. You don't get to the conference finals without going through Boston. You see what I'm saying? See, I think the Knicks have a better chance of beating the Celtics, and the Detroit Pistons have a better chance of beating the Knicks. That's how I view it. I think the kryptonite for the New York Knicks can be the Detroit Pistons because I can't get over Bernie Bickerstaff. I'm sorry, Bernie Bickerstaff. I meant his son, obviously, BJ. But Bernie Bickerstaff, always good to hear from you, my brother. Always good to hear from the man. But let me say this about BJ Bickerstaff, JB Bickerstaff. This is the thing. The man came on the set on ESPN last year after they lost to the New York Knicks. Told us, we gonna kick y'all ass. We tired of y'all. We ain't having this again. And every time they've met the New York Knicks since he said that,
I loved it.
They have kicked their ass. I mean, he's not playing. And you see that there's a little something extra that comes from Detroit when they're going against the New York. I watched them several times this year against everybody else. They look a little different when it's against the New York Knicks. They don't like them. They want them. You understand? And I haven't seen the Knicks respond to that challenge. Nope. When somebody is coming to kick your ass, you're supposed to respond. The Knicks have not get him this year. That's Boston. Detroit is like one of those teams that gives you the impression that they could be en route to a championship. And if the New York Knicks gets bounced out, they're going to be pissed off because we want them. We want them bad. We want the Knicks. You know, they want them. And that is why I look at the Detroit as being the biggest Achilles heel to the New York Knicks. Whereas with the Celtics, it's the Knicks that's in their way because the Knicks already beat them before. And because of the methodical approach that the Boston Celtics have, they'll beat anybody that you put in front of them. They're like the Knicks are just the latest victim. Detroit wants the Knicks. Boston don't care who it is. We just going to beat them because we're better than you. That's Boston's mentality, which is why I think is a difference.
To both of your points with the Pistons situation, Wendy, I do feel like people maybe push them aside because of the situation with Cade Cunningham. And Stephen A., you feel like they're the biggest threat to the Knicks if Cade Cunningham is healthy. Wendy, really quick, do you know an update on Cade? Is he going to be fully ready to go for the first series of the playoffs?
Yeah, he's ready to go now. He's playing. He's ready to go. I think the challenge with them is what happens if Cade isn't great in the game. Their options after that are a little more limited.
Okay. Good to know. All right, coming up here on First Take.
I say this to you, Shay.
Yeah?
I want to say this real quick. I believe that Boston could beat the Knicks. They should be favored over the Knicks, okay? I truly believe that. But when it comes to Cade Cunningham and them, I don't know if the Knicks are ready for that. They have to show me that. I mean, again, Detroit wants them badly. I mean, badly. They're rooting for the Knicks to get through everybody else just so they can get them. It's that kind of volatility. And I need the Knicks to respond to that. I haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen it.
You know who else wanted to face the Knicks in the first round? The Atlanta Hawks. So let's see how they respond to that.
Right now, Iman, there seems to be some history between these two players. You heard what Spo and LaMelo had to say about it. However, what are your thoughts on what happened last night?
Well, first of all, it's unfortunate for Bam to go down like that. You never want to see a player in this league go down with any type of injury. But when you look at the scheme of things and you see what's up for grabs, little stuff like this just kind of happens. Guys are, tangled up. I think LaMelo went down on that play. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was one of those things where he thought his hand was going to get stepped on. It just so happened that he happened to take Bam with him, and I don't think he was pretty mad about it. If you would have told me that LaMelo Ball was going to be able to sweep Bam from under his feet with his left hand on the floor, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that could have even happened. I think it was just unfortunate. Bam didn't have any balance, and he just took it with him. It's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I don't think it was a dirty, sought-after play to take Bam out of the game.
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate event right there, especially for Bam Adebayo, who had to come out of that game. Hornets now await the loser of Magic versus Sixers game for a chance to make the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Let's transition to tonight. Steph Curry and the Warriors visit Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. Which team do you trust more to make it out of the play-in and into the playoffs?
I think I trust Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers a little bit more. Ever since they've been able to try and get healthy and they had to move some things around, I think they've really found a rhythm with Kawhi Leonard being their leader. I think T. Lue has found a way to get those guys to corral together and behind each other. I feel like they still have some daylight in that locker room. It'd be exciting to see them come out of the play-in tournament. I don't know exactly what they're supposed to do when they get to round one if they do make it out of the play-in tournament. But it definitely would be exciting to see them match up and to see Kawhi Leonard get a chance to attack as a superstar again in the playoffs.
Yeah, look, I don't doubt Kawhi when the season is on the line, but you're right. I don't know what that means if they do make it out of the play-in and into the playoffs. It could be a scary sight in that first.
This was a physical Phoenix Suns team led by Dylan Brooks, and Denny Avdija did not back down one bit and had the game of his life on the biggest stage of his young career.
Yep, game of his life so far. Now they earn a date with the Spurs and former Spurs splitter, Thiago Splitter, who fills in admirably. Give that guy the job as the head coach. That's the topic we can discuss moving forward. But 41-7-12 for Avdija, an incredible game. Look, the Spurs are everybody's darlings this year, and I'm on board with that. They're a blast to watch. But what's your sense of what we'll see in this opening round series as San Antonio gets its first taste of playoff action against this Portland team that just went to Phoenix and grabbed this one?
Well, you're gonna get a team that's relentless when you talk about the Portland Trailblazers, right? When we talk about Denny, he's a high motor guy, and let's not forget they have a veteran, a champion, Drew Holiday over there that knows and understands the big moment and has risen to the occasion in previous games, especially with the Celtics. So the Spurs are going to be tested, but they're going to need this test. I believe that the Spurs are going to win this series, but it's definitely going to be a brawl for it all.